Okay, hello and welcome to this 35 minute hip practice for your mobility. So we're going to focus on just working through the hip, through getting some more rotation, feeling more openness in the back and physically into the pelvis, and working on a little bit of lower back strength as well. So for this practice, you're going to need 2 blocks and just your mat. And I'm sitting outside. It's lovely today. It's a nice summer evening. Today was the Pride Parade, so I got to partake in that, and that was great to see. Okay, so we're going to start on your back. So you're going to take your block, and you're just going to place it just underneath your sacrum. So we're trying to relax through the low back just a bit. You want to make sure that it's right across the sacrum. So you're going to bring yourself down, and make sure it's in a comfortable position for you. So you're going to bring your hands just by your sides, feet hip distance apart. You can bring it like further away from you or a little bit closer. I like a little bit closer because I can just let my body just kind of like drop down into it. It feels really nice. Sort of decompresses through the sacrum. So you're going to take 3 deep inhales here. So feeling your abdomen expand and also moving through your chest. So take an inhale. And then exhale, breathing out. So you want to feel on the inhale the ribs expanding and then letting the belly rise. So you're going to inhale again. And then exhaling, breathing out. So when you inhale, so feel the expansion through the ribs, but also feel the expansion through your pelvis, like into that lower back, into that pelvic floor, let everything lengthen. Inhale again. And exhaling, breathing out. Just do it on your own just a few more times. Just feeling the weight of your pelvis sink into the block. So really feeling maybe the connection into the sacrum, and maybe feeling if your sacrum feels off just a bit. Mine usually feels heavy on my right side, and my left side feels a bit weaker. Okay, just one more inhale. And exhaling, breathing everything out. Good. So from here, bring your hands by your side if you're not already. And you take the block and just lifting your hips up, letting your hips land down where they can. So we're going to slide our legs out in front of us. And relaxing your head down with your shoulders, maybe shaking things out a bit, adjusting your feet where they are. And then we're going to move into our hip cars, so our hip controlled articular rotations. We're trying to move through each part of the hip joint. Specifically the ball, not so much the socket. So you want to keep your pelvis still, but just moving through that socket joint. So we're going to start by sliding. So lifting the right leg up, and right leg and cross over as far as you can into that adduction, using the adductors inner thighs. Pulling that leg in towards you as far as you can, trying to bring that heel in towards you, trying to open out through the hip. Holding this here, so feeling that work in the adductors. Turning the leg in, so knee flexion. Rotating it in, so heel goes toward the outside. So imagine this weight moving on your ankle and holding the weight here. And rotating back in, trying to squeeze that heel toward you. Feeling a stretch in the outer hip. Coming back to center, we're going to open the leg out to the side, to the knee bent. And then rotating in through that hip. The heel almost touches the ground. Then lifting that leg up, moving into your external rotation, squeezing your heel in towards you, trying to keep your pelvis not from shifting. Come back center. I'm just going to lengthen the leg down again. Switch to the other side. So we're going to lift that leg up. We're going to scoop it across into that adduction. Feel the adductors. Pulling your leg towards you. Squeezing your heel towards the midline. Holding it here. Lifting to center. Trying to bring your knee closer toward you. Moving into that internal rotation. Heel pushes out to the side. Feeling that work in the outside of the hip. Rotating into that external rotation. Squeezing your heel in. Trying to get as much movement as possible. Rotating again. Coming back on the external rotation. And back to center. So we're going to open out to the side. Try not to let your hips shift back and forth. Letting that leg open out. Rotating in. Heel almost touches down. And rotating out. Heel squeeze up toward the ceiling. Rotating down. And lifting up. And squeezing back in the center. And just reaching your leg out by your side. Good. Just shaking it. Moving your hips back and forth feels nice. Just to loosen everything up. Good. Let's take our hands behind us. Just pushing out my nice peace sign that I found on the side of the road, actually. It was really nice. So just going to lift up, stretching through your psoas, just a bit in your stomach muscles. So you're going to inhale, lift up your back off the ground. Feel a nice length or stretch. Exhale, dropping down, trying to bring your ribcage in. Inhaling, lifting up. Feeling the breath into the ribs. Exhaling, think about just dropping down through the ribcage. Inhale, lifting up ribcage. Exhaling, dropping down. Great. And just bringing your hands by your sides, bending through your knees, and let's make our way up onto all fours. I'm just going to shift the mat a little bit. So, keeping your blocks handy, warming up through our spine just for a little bit. Keeping your hands right underneath your wrists. You can tuck your toes under. I'm going to turn slightly for you. So you're moving through just our low back and our pelvis here. So we're going to inhale. We're going to round through that lower back. So it's kind of like we're scooping our hips forward, feeling a stretch in the lower back and the pelvis. And then think about tucking under as if you want to drop down your belly towards the ground. It's a little bit of arch in the lower back, but just moving slightly, just a little bit from the pelvis. So I'm scooping my hips, and then I'm dropping down. Scooping my hips, and then I'm dropping down. Good. So let's make it a little more active here. I'm just going to adjust so you can see me a little better. So to get more motion in your hips, in your pelvis specifically, to come into that same stance. So we're going to scoop. We're going to tuck our pelvis under. So I'm really exaggerating. So I'm scooping. So I'm feeling a nice stretch in my lower back. And I want you to think about as if you want to bring your knees up towards your wrist. So it's kind of like you're doing this with both of your knees. So you're really engaging through those abdominals. Think about as if you want to slide your knees to the floor, as if you want to bring your wrist toward you. So we're holding here. So really engaging through the front of the body, that line. Holding here. Keep on flexing. And then here, think about pushing away with your feet along the floor. So kind of like your feet want to push back behind you. You're going to hold here for a little bit. Push out into extension. Hold, hold, hold. And then now I'm slowly scooping my way more into that flexion, to that rounding through that spine. So I'm really using the first part we did. I'm really scooping, engaging through here. So before we were just holding, and now I want to think about your actually move a little more. And then inhale, lift up through your chest. Nice stretch here. Exhale, just round through that whole spine. So we're going to do that one more time. So the idea is we're trying to get this movement here, a little bit of that pelvic tilt in that all fours position. So hands underneath your shoulders, toes tucked under. Thinking about getting in a good position for you. So think about spreading through your toes. So we're going to think about, we're just scooping, we're rounding through that pelvis, trying a bit more flexion. Holding here. And this is where I think we're going to actually move into isometric contraction. So kind of like you're pulling your wrist to your knees and your knees are pulling to your wrists. Think about scooping, holding here, engaging everything from your abdomen, maybe your quads. Breathing into this. And then think of the opposites. Without moving your back, think about pushing your toes away. So you're engaging through those hamstrings and the whole back of the body, coming all the way up, all the way down here. Holding. Breathing. And then you're going to pull yourself more into that movement. So I'm going to pull myself, moving through that lower back into that pelvis. Squeezing wrist towards your knees. Hold for a little bit. And then come more. Just into the stretch, round your back. Good. Lifting your back up again. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to come to a nice hip stretch that I sort of playing around with blocks. This is really nice. So you're going to take whatever block. I have two different ones. So if you have either one is fine. So you're going to place the block just beside you. And you're going to place it just a little bit out from you. But your foot is going to go so it's lengthwise on the block. And then so what you're doing is a little bit wider, so hip distance apart. So we're just going to sink back into that hip. And that feels really nice in that, possibly into that outer hip, maybe into the adductors just a bit. And just inhale here, breathe into that lower back. And exhaling, breathing out, slowly lifting up. So we're going to arch through our back, lifting up through our spine. And sinking back. Inhale here. Exhaling, lifting up. Good. One more time, sinking back. Inhale. Exhaling, lifting up. Great. And for strength-wise, this is active class. You can come back if you like. Maybe bring your knee in if you need. We're going to lift and then lower. You can come to standing as well if you want. Hands out in front of you. Lift and lower. And drop down. Good. Switching other side. So you're going to place it at your hip height. So make sure you're about hip distance apart. So you don't want to be too far forward or back. The toe is pointing away from you. Bringing your hands just down by your sides. And we're just going to shift back through our hips. Pushing our hips back. Just feel a stretch in the nice back of the hip. We're going to come forward. You're going to arch through your back. And then sink back into that hip. Coming forwards, inhaling. Exhaling. Shifting your hands, whatever's comfortable. Inhale here. Exhaling. Breathing out. Coming forwards, arching through that back. One more time. Inhale, feeling that stretch in that abdomen. In that lower back and the pelvis. exhaling, coming forward. Great. So staying here, if you'd like, maybe bring your hands closer toward you, your knee closer in. Lift and lower. So if you're having trouble lifting your leg up, think about as if you want to engage the muscles to lift. Just gently think about lifting through your toes up. So you're engaging that whole line here. That's going to help activate everything when it comes to being able to lift up higher. Lift and lower. Or if you want to come up, same kind of thing. Lifting your toes up, that's going to engage everything through here. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Okay. And come down. Perfect. You made it almost about halfway through the class. Okay. So the next one that we're going to try is just working. Actually, we're going to do a sitting one first. So you're going to bring your legs out in front of you. So you want to try to work rotation in a lot of different ways, from standing, lying on your back, or on all fours. So you bring your hands behind you. I like to bring my toes toward me, so I'm just feeling a stretch through my calves. And here, just as what we were doing lying on your back, so you're going to lift your leg up. You're going to bring it across, coming into that adduction, and then just bending your knee here. Good. And we're going to come into that rotation inwards and that rotation outward. Try to squeeze your heel toward you. Bring it back down. Switching sides. Lifting your leg up, across, holding here, coming back to center, rotating in, rotating out, and reaching it back. Can I do that one more time? So we're going to make it a little more active again. We're going to hold the leg at one of the positions. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale, exhaling normally. Lifting up, sliding across, really using the adductors. Good. Try to squeeze your heel as far as you can toward you. Turning inwards. Coming back, lifting the leg up, bringing your heel toward you. So you're coming into a bit of a glute stretch. We're going to challenge the body a little bit. It's okay if it doesn't work. Mine will probably jump away. So we're going to hold here, but we're going to take our hand off. You're going to try to keep your leg where it is. So it's really trying to have that function of the external rotation holding here. So hold. So keeping that squeeze. Think about squeezing from your heel toward you. Trying to get squeeze as much rotation as possible. Holding, 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 and then bringing it down. Okay, other side. So you're going to lift, come in toward you, and just grabbing that knee. So holding here, it's a bit of like a passive range of motion, because you can get more because you're pulling it in yourself. Active is when we let go of the leg. So inhale, exhaling, inhale, exhaling, holding. Try to just keep the leg where it is, squeezing the heel toward you. Trying not to move with your knee so much. Hold, hold, hold. And bring it in again. Good. And just relax it down. Shake your legs out. Good. Okay. So we're going to move into working on the outer hips. Bringing the blocks. So you can stack them on top of each other. So maybe the small one on top. And we're going to bring the leg. So you want to bring it out as far as you can so that it will match so you can put your leg on the block. I'm just going to adjust this so you can see. So trying different heights. So if you want, you could start with your leg just straight out like this. Okay? And we're just going to rotate it up and then rotate it back. So we're really slowly moving through that range of motion again in that rotation in each position, like I was talking about before. So really think about your rotating through that femur. So when I'm lifting up, I'm really using that whole outside of the leg, and maybe a little bit through the adductors as well. And then rotating down. Nice and slow. Good. And then from here, so trying it from here, we're using this whole outside of the leg. So just for a practice, taking the hand and putting it just on the outside, or just above the knee on the outside. So I want you to think about you're pushing up into your hand, so you're engaging all of this. So kind of like you want to lift the leg up, but not actually lifting. So we're going to push up. So I want you to feel this whole line engage. Hold, 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 and relax. Let's try to do the opposite. So I want you to feel like you're going to engage through this knee to this heel. So I want to think that you're squeezing the floor up in between you. Hold, hold, hold. Keep engaging it. And then relax. So think about those two movements as we do the next one. So inhale and exhale. So you could bring your hands forward if you like a bit more. It's a little bit harder if you lift your arms up. So you choose your paradise or your hell. So, maybe if you want to bring the knee in too, you can do that as well. So we're going to lift and lower. Lift and lower. One more time. Lift and lower. Good. Sink back if you need. Stretch it out. Rotate it out. Good. If you want to add more challenge, you can place one leg on the block and do those lifts and those lowers. So wherever you are in the situation, we're going to do about 10 lifts. So coming where you are, placing it down. Good. So we're going to lift. I'm going to challenge you. We're going to rotate the leg. We're going to bring it behind you. And rotate from here. Rotate open. Placing it down. Lift. Rotate so the toe is facing downwards, reaching it behind you. Rotate it open. Hold, 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 hold. And drop. So keep on moving for about 10 times. If you would like more of a challenge today, you can start with your leg lifted on here. Lift and reach it back. When you're done, just coming onto your hands, your knees, you can lift your arms up. Inhale and exhale, dropping down. Okay, so we'll switch sides. So here, same as positions before. You could bring the leg out in front of you, lifting the toes up, rotating, and lowering them down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Really feeling that spiral work in that hip and noticing each side what's different or what's the same. So finding that engagement, so placing your hand just above the knee here, so feeling all of this nice tissue engage. So you're going to push into your hand as if you want to lift your leg off of the ground. You're not actually moving to meeting the resistance. Push, hold, hold, and relax. Good. So doing the opposite. So we're going to try and engage from the heel to the inner thigh, all the way up. There's this whole line, as if you want to squeeze the floor up in between you. Squeeze. So inhale, exhale, breathing normally, squeeze, squeeze. Holding here. So the more tension you create, the more you're going to make more change. Hold, 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 and relax. Maybe come into a little bit of stretch first. Good. So you decide your challenge for this one. Try to do about 10 or so. Maybe try to do 2 challenges. So maybe a foot in the ground, maybe 1 block, maybe 2. So wherever you are, you're going to place your foot on the block or on the ground. Inhale, exhale normally. We're going to lift. You're going to rotate your leg back and reaching it back. Good. So keeping that rotation, keeping that control. Oh, this side is spasming. I forgot to mention that if you're doing some of this, you might feel some spasms. If that's so, we just reduce the height. Lift and open. Or bring it back. Rotate. Lift. Your joints will thank you tomorrow. Good. Taking a break if you need to. Inhaling and exhaling. When you're ready, moving on to the other challenge. I like to see if I can place my foot on here. Or staying where you are, choosing any of those options. Lift and lower. Rotate it open. Doing about 10 times. Right, so when you're done, lifting your arms, taking a deep inhale, and exhale, dropping everything down. Right, so we're going to do a little bit of lower back strength, specifically in the multifidus muscles that just run down your spine. So they come up just sort of the base of the spine, just above the sacrum, and they travel all the way up just into your neck. And they're good for stabilizing of the spine. It's also a good core strength muscle, and they also help with rotation as well. So they often get really weak if people have lower back issues, even from injury as well. So we're just going to think about just very small movements, just activating through those muscles. I'm going to move this so you can see me. So you're going to lie with your stomach just lying down like this. Your hands just underneath your forehead, just relaxing your head down. Just come into a breath here. So you want to think about, you're going to breathe into that lower back. So you're going to inhale. Abdomen expands. Exhale. Breathing out. Inhale again. Exhaling, breathing out. One more time. Inhale. Feel into the back, into the lower ribs, and into your glutes. Exhale. Good. Okay. Taking the weight off, so you're going to bring your hands just straight out in front of you. And letting your feet, so they're placing, the toes are down. And try not to let your ankles drop out. So think about bringing your ankles a little bit closer into the center. And then just very slowly. So you're going to inhale, exhale. And I want you to think about your sort of like engaging your hip bones closer together. So kind of like you're wearing a corset that's going to wrap around here. And you're just tightening the strings in that corset. So not so much think about engaging the glutes. It's more about your trying to suck your hip bones, these guys, closer together. So a little bit activation through your low back, through your sacrum area here. And just holding that for as long as you can. Maybe bring your hands by your side. And relaxing down. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of the legs into it. So we're going to lift one leg off the floor at a time. So I'm going to bring this up like a little bit so you can see what my hips and my lower back are doing. So inhale, exhaling, breathing out here. So that same kind of engagement, think about sucking in, pulling in those corsets. And then without shifting your hips, you're going to lift one leg off of the floor. And we're going to hold this here. So I want you to think about when you're lifting, try not to shift your hips back and forth like this. And then we're actually going to come into a little bit of a posterior tilt. So you can see me, so I'm thinking about I'm scooping my hips forward just a bit. So it's the equivalent of me doing this like we did in the warm-up. It's this movement, except we're doing it on our stomach. So inhale, exhaling, breathing out. So we're going to come into the tilt. So I'm scooping forward, pushing down with my feet. And I'm going to lift one leg up. And I'm going to hold here. So you're going to feel the activation in the glutes, but also specifically through